How's it going, everyone? Welcome to this tutorial on how to play DBFight. In this video, we're going to explain how to get all the game elements together and get started on your very first game of DBFight. The first thing you're going to need is some sort of game board, and that's as easy as finding a chess or checkerboard. I was able to find this one at my local thrift shop for about $1.30. So I got this, and then you also need some miniatures to play with or some sort of tokens. Now, you can use the chess pieces that come with the board or the checkers pieces that come with it. You can understand that black is one player's character, white is the other. Or I went to my local antique store and somehow found these characters. You can also order a handful of them on Amazon for about $18. Once you're ready to play with even more characters, I had a fun time with my 3D printer going on cults3d.com and downloading and printing as many Dragon Ball Z characters as I could get my hands on. Once you have your character tokens and your board, you can go over to the website to get all the rules for your characters, all the cards that you need to play. To do that, you're going to go over to sites.google.com/view/dbfight. I've linked that down in the description of this video below. Once you get there, you'll be greeted with our main website. All the rules on how to play are right here, but I'm going to explain this to you in this video, so you don't need to go there just now, though they're always there for reference, and they're up at the top under how to play if you ever need to guess on a rule. That being said, we're going to choose Frieza and Goku. That's what the tutorial recommends. It also recommends setting a stage limit of 5 and a power level of 5. Let me explain how to build your own team and why we chose that for the game. We'll start by showing you Frieza, or actually we'll start by showing you just the villains in general. If you look below characters, it'll tell you what their power level can be. For their power level, that also sets what stage you pick them at. For example, if you choose stage 5 Frieza, he's power level 5. That means you can go up to Golden Frieza. However, some characters like Boo have a variety of stages, yet he has one set power level, which is 6. Why is that? Well, it's because Boo has a lot of special abilities, like regenerating his body and his ki. He's very hard to kill. He's a very difficult character to deal with. So regardless of whatever stage he's in, and his maximum stage only goes up to about 3, I believe, he's still going to be a level 6 power level character because of how powerful he is, regardless of what stage he's in. So once you and your opponent agree on a power level, we've also set a stage limit of 5, which means your characters cannot go above stage 5. So we're going to pick Frieza here. And what that means is for Frieza, we couldn't say go to Black Frieza or Full Power Black Frieza, which are both stage 7 and 8. We'll explain how to read the cards in a later section. That being said, you can't go to full powered Golden Frieza. You're stuck at a maximum of Golden Frieza. So you also want to take the time to familiarize yourself with all of the various cards that you have access to. We've sorted them into various decks to make them easier to understand where every card is, and so you don't get lost in too many options. If you ever want an easier time to read cards, though, they're down here in full in a bigger resolution. So if it's ever hard to read that smaller resolution, you can come down here and search for the card and understand the rules and how to read it a little bit better. We need to set up our key pool and our active key. For a stage 5 battle and a stage 5 character, that means that they would have 50 key. You take the stage maximum and you multiply it by 10, unless otherwise directed to, as with Boo. So for stage 5, we have 50 key. That means our key pool, which is our inactive key that we're starting with, is going to start at number 5. However, typically, between your opponent and you, we agree to start at the stage limit times 10. So for Frieza being at stage 3, it means he could actually start, if he wanted to, with 30 active key, which would bring his key pool down to 20. So basically, he has 20 key in reserve, and he has 30 key that he's ready to play with and use. Now, how do we set up Goku? It's recommended that everyone have their own tablet or phone, or that the person prints out their cards and uses them themselves, however they want to do that. However, if you're running a team with multiple characters, or you and your opponent just want to share a screen, you can easily open up a new window in another tab. So I'm going to quickly go down to Super, which is Dragon Ball Super. Under the Saiyans tab, I'm going to right click and I'm going to open up Goku in a new tab. And that's going to give me Goku. He's got all the same cards. He's got various transformations. And as a reminder, he'll be stuck. He can only go as high as Super Saiyan Blue since our maximum stage is 5. From there, we're going to set his ki pool as well to 20 ki in his pool in reserve and 30 ki active and ready to go. I'm going to make sure that his character card for his transformation is set to not be flipped up, and we'll teach you how to play this game in a second. So that being said, let's move on over to the game board. Now, here over at the board, we're ready to place our characters on the board. Before we get started, it's important to note that the board is divided up into 4 quadrants, 1, 2, 3, and 4. It's important that players communicate with one another which number corresponds to which section. Sometimes I like to set a little dice in each corner of the map just so my kids don't forget which corner of the map is which. And those corners can be referenced for moves later. For example, if you wanted to choose section 1 of the board, and let's just say Frieza's in section 1 right now, and you wanted to maybe shoot him with a barrage of ki blasts because he's been dashing and jumping a lot, he's hard to pin down, you would want to choose location 1 on the map, and by choosing the right location card, and then you'd want to choose, let's say I'm going to guess that he's going to jump from black over to white, so I'm going to guess the white checker pattern. And then I'm going to choose, let's say, the ki barrage movement, which allows Goku to shoot a barrage of ki blasts onto every white square in the 1 corner of the map. So, for example, if Frieza used the jump maneuver and jumped over to the black squares, he would not have been hit by the ki barrage. Now that we understand how the map is divided and how targeting moves work, you can place your character on any edge of the map within your chosen side. It doesn't matter where you put them, but it's important that you do put them within a square touching your edge of the map. Before we get to choosing moves and how to read cards, we need to know what the goal of the game is. The goal of the game is to reduce every opponent down to 0 ki. There are times in the rules or in the cards where we reference total ki. Total ki is simply your ki pool added to your active ki. And that total number, for example, right now, Goku and Frieza are both at a total ki of 50. The goal is to reduce them to 0, and then we will have a winner. Every time a move does damage, it will first damage the ki pool, and then if the ki pool is at 0, any damage will roll over to the active ki. Some characters have strange abilities that allow them to hurt the active ki first, so look out for that on some of the cards. At this point in the game, you want to take some time to familiarize yourself with some of your character cards, but before we get to that, I'd love to explain how to read these cards. Now let's start going over the elements of reading a card. First, I'll explain the most simple one, and that would be a simple character card. We're going to have the move name at the top. That can also be your character's name. And you'll notice a little man standing off to the side with an arrow pointing up. That is what stage your character is currently at. The character might also have some special text that changes things about them throughout the game. However, in the case of Goku, there's nothing special about him. He is stage 3, and as you can see, his name is Goku. Stage is important because there's a rule in the game known as stage disparity. What that means is, if a stage 3 character is attacking a stage 3 character, there's nothing special about that. However, if a stage 3 character is attacking someone lower in stage to them, they'll get a damage boost of 10 extra damage. This represents that some characters, when they're punching lower level characters, it just hurts a lot more to get hit by a Super Saiyan when you're a regular human. On the other side, there's times when characters transform into a higher stage, and it's almost impossible to hurt them. We've represented this by saying if your stage is lower than the person you're attacking, so the attacking stage is lower than the defender stage, then they have their damage reduced by 10 damage to a minimum of 1. You always do at least 1 little damage to the person you're attacking. Now let's begin to understand how to read a card. So let's use the example of Kamehameha Wave. Let's say Goku wants to launch a Kamehameha over at Frieza. Well, we can see that it's got a few attributes off to the side. Going back to our template, that explosion is supposed to represent someone charging up a move. It'll have a number. That's how much ki you will pay from your active ki. That's usable ki by Goku. So Goku starts with 30 active ki. That means he pays 1 for his Kamehameha. He's going to go down to a 29 in his active ki, as 1 has been spent on Kamehameha. You'll notice it also has the man flexing. That is how much ki he can build into his attack from his ki pool. This is very rare and very special amongst moves. So Goku is allowed to actually spend, and in fact with Kamehameha, he has to spend 1 ki from his build pool. So he's going to go down to 19 for his ki pool. Now he's at a total of 2 ki spent on his Kamehameha. However, you'll notice the green arrow. That is minimum. That's the minimum amount of turns that Goku has to use on spending ki on the move. So, at a minimum of 2, that means Goku has to spend 1 ki from each pool on his first turn, and 1 ki from each pool on the second turn. So, if we speed on to turn 2, Goku builds this for 1 more turn. He goes down to 18 ki in his ki pool, and down to 18 active ki. He will now have spent a total of 4 ki on his Kamehameha. This brings us to damage. He can, because it's been 2 turns, he can now release his Kamehameha on turn 2. This is the damage characteristic down here, the fist with the power symbol. That is the number multiplied by the ki spent. So Goku has spent 4 ki on a Kamehameha, which means he will do 8 damage if he hits Frieza. So if Goku hits Frieza, we will reduce Frieza down by 8 ki. We're going to subtract from his ki pool first. So he'll go down to 12 ki from his ki pool. Once his number is at 0, he will be defeated. So it's very important to make sure that Frieza and Goku don't spend their ki too carelessly, as it is also their health pool. Now let's take a moment to explain the other parts of a card. You'll notice this little hourglass down here. Some moves can be sustained over time. That means you can continually pay for the move, and if there's a number, that's how much you pay for the move. If there's only a little stopwatch, then you always pay 1 if you only see that symbol. Let's take a look at a move that would do that. Transformations are a common one that cost a sustain cost. So Frieza right now is in his base perfect form. If he wants to go over to, let's say, powered up Frieza, or let's just even say golden Frieza, that costs 2 ki every turn that he wants to be in this form. If he's about to get hit with that Kamehameha from Goku, he would like to reduce the damage down as much as possible. So he can either turn to Golden Frieza, and that will put him at stage 5. Goku, who is still at stage 3, will do 10 less damage on his Kamehameha, which means instead of taking 8 damage, Frieza will only take 1 from the blast. However, he'll also have to pay 2 ki every turn after he transforms. It's important to note that you do not pay the sustain cost the turn that you power up. It's free to transform, but every turn after, you have to pay for that transformation. Now it's time to start talking about the last characteristic, which is the blast characteristic on the card. If you see this blast symbol, which looks like a nuclear fallout symbol, with a number, it means that you count that many spaces away from the character. For example, if a blast characteristic has 1, it means that it hits the target in the space they're in, and it hits 1 square outside every area of that, essentially hitting a 3 by 3 area. However, if there's no number next to it, that means you need to read the special text on the card to understand what it means. So if you're playing a card and you see this blast characteristic, it's a reminder that you should look at the special text and see what that means. Let's take a look at one of the cards right now. Frieza has a move called Planet Destruction. This represents Frieza's ability to destroy an entire planet, and usually most people who can't survive in space along with it. This is a very expensive move, but let's take a moment to look at it. Here's a bigger view of the card so you can read it a little bit more easier. This card is called Planet Destruction. It costs 10 active ki per turn, and he can launch it on the second turn after spending a total of 20 ki. This will result in it doing 1 damage per ki spent, which means simply this move will do 20 damage because Frieza has spent 20 ki on the move. This card, it says, is played with a location card. So when Frieza selects Planet Destruction, he has to choose what corner of the map he's going to be launching this planet-destroying ball into. So let's say Frieza does location number 4. On Frieza's turn, he would have his Golden Frieza up, and which means he has to pay 2 active ki for being golden. Then he chooses Planet Destruction in location 4, so he'll put 10 of his ki into his ball. So let's first play that Golden Frieza transformation. So we pay our sustain cost at the start of the turn. Then he plays location 4 with Planet Destruction, so he's going to pay 10 ki for that, bringing him down to 18 ki. Now, let's just go forward one more turn. He pays the last bit of ki, and he pays 2 more ki for his Golden Transformation. Now, Frieza launches that Planet Destruction into location 4, and if he does that, Goku has to survive 3 turns or else he will be destroyed. So let's run all that back and show you a game from beginning to end. We'll start with each character having just placed their character somewhere on the map. They've chosen their sides, they've chosen a square that borders that side, and we're ready to begin. But first we'll number the map. The section Frieza is in will be section 1, and then we'll move over to section 2, 3, 4. So right now, according to the game, Frieza is in section 1, and Goku is in section 4. That's important to note for moves later. As I said before, it'd be very smart to place dice on each corner so that players don't forget which corner is which and it doesn't lead to arguments. That being said, our characters are on the map, and we're ready to choose our first moves. Again, as a reminder, each character would want their own device, their own tablet, their own laptop. For the sake of demonstration, we're going to say that each tab on my computer represents another player's complete different tablet. Moves are chosen at the same time, so when players are ready to begin, they can just begin selecting their moves and say, all right, I'm ready. I've got my first move. Are you ready? And the person might say, I need another second. Let me give that move ready. And then they'll say, okay, I'm ready now. And you can do a 3, 2, 1, and you both put your devices down, your tablets down, or your cards down, and you show what move you've selected. Let's go through picking Goku's first move. I say that Goku's first move is he probably wants to begin a Kamehameha wave over at Frieza. So he's going to go over to his ki-based actions. He's going to find the Kamehameha wave, and it's as simple as that. Now he has to pay the appropriate ki from his ki pools. Kamehameha takes 1 from his ki pool and 1 from his active ki. So let's move our numbers accordingly. He goes down to 19 over here, and he goes down to 29 over here. But that's Goku's turn. He would say, I'm ready. I've picked my moves. Are you ready? And Frieza would say, I need another moment. 1 second. Over on the Frieza side, Frieza is cooking up a dirty scheme. The first thing he wants to do is he wants to transform into his Golden Frieza form. So we're going to go over to transformations, and we're going to select his Golden Frieza form. And as part of transforming, he can also power up. He wants to pull some more energy down to be able to use in this form. He's stage 5 in this form, which means when he selects the power up option, it specifies he can bring down over to double his stage. So he's going to bring down 10 ki from his ki pool. So he's going to go to 1 here and 4 up here. Each player is ready. Frieza says, I'm ready now, and they reveal their moves. Frieza can see that Goku is targeting him with a Kamehameha wave, and Goku can see that he's now dealing with a Golden Frieza. So, they now have revealed their moves. They'll begin their next move. They've paid their ki. There's no damage yet because the moves aren't released. Goku knows that he cannot hurt Golden Frieza with his Kamehameha. It won't do enough damage. So Goku needs to amplify his damage because Frieza is just such a heavy hitter right now. So what Goku's going to do is to show he's going to release his Kamehameha wave, he's going to select the Ki Blast option, which will tell his opponent that he is blasting his Kamehameha. He is not continuing to build energy. If he wanted to continue to build energy into his Kamehameha, he would select the Focus Energy card. That shows that his Kamehameha is on deck, it's being used, but he's still building energy into it. That being said, he's going to release his Kamehameha wave. First, he has to pay for his Kamehameha wave. It's going to have to do, we're going to go down 1 more active and 1 more from the pool. But to help him do more damage, he's going to do a Kaioken. And he's going to do a Kaioken, let's say, times 2 or times 20. That will bring Goku up to stage 5. What Kaioken does, and you can read the card on your own time, but it says that it increases his stage by 2. So now base Goku with the Kaioken times 20 is equal to a stage 5 character. However, he might also be afraid that Frieza is going to dodge his ability. So he can also use an instant transmission on top of that. So now altogether, Goku has used an instant transmission Kamehameha times 20 Ki Blast. He has to pay for that, however, and Kaioken costs 20, and instant transmission costs 1 plus another 1 to use it with an ability. He is going to have to spend a total of 22 Ki. So 22 Ki. Boom. But now that's what Goku's cooked up. Let's see what Frieza's planning, which is he's going to start a planet destruction. He's going to have to throw 10 of his Ki into that attack. So he goes from 40 down to 30 active Ki. He also has to pay for his golden transformation, which costs 2 more Ki. Oh, and he's not powering up this round, so take that away. So he has to pay 2 more Ki for that. So that brings him down to 28. So 28. All right, Frieza has begun his planet destruction. He also needs to choose location number 4. He has to play that with the card. Now, both characters say they're ready. They reveal their cards. Frieza's building up a move, so there's no damage that he does to Goku. However, Goku has now hit Frieza with a Kaioken times 20 instant transmission Kamehameha wave. That's going to result in Goku being relocated due to instant transmission in any square he wants next to Frieza. That's what instant transmission does. So we're going to move Goku here next to Frieza, and he releases his Kamehameha wave. Goku's total calculation is 4 Ki spent times 2 for the Kamehameha wave, causing a total of 8 damage to Frieza. So now let's go over to Frieza. It's going to hit his Ki pool first, so he'll go down to 8 Ki. So we'll drop this number to 0, and we'll drop this number over to 8. But now Goku has a problem. Frieza is planning a planet destruction onto quadrant 4 of the map. Goku needs to get back over there quick, and he needs to use the defend option. So now that we're ready for our next turn, let's reset Goku's board. Let's put his cards all face down again. Kaioken times 20 is still active. So on his next turn, he will need to pay 1 active Ki to pay for Kaioken because it costs 1 sustain. And he needs to move over to quadrant 4. So we're going to say his location is going to be 4. And he's going to have to take a movement action. He's going to take the dash action to get over there quickly. However, you cannot dash and defend at the same time, which means Goku is going to take a fair bit of damage on his turn. Now it's Frieza's turn to show his moves, and Frieza's simply going to release his planet destruction. To show that he's releasing it, he's going to use the Ki Blast option, which means he's building up his planet destruction and he's launching it. He does have to pay the active Ki for it first, however. So he goes down to 18, bringing another 10 Ki into his planet destruction. This here is a good way to show cards up front, but it's also another way to show which move you're working on. So I'm going to bring up planet destruction just to show that that's what Frieza is blasting with his Ki Blast. So now both players say that they're ready. They reveal their moves. Frieza shows that he's launching into quadrant number 4. And Goku will reveal that he has dashed into quadrant number 4. So he's going to place his character anywhere in there. And I apologize. I missed one of the rules. I guess it can happen to anyone. But when Goku uses this, he's supposed to specify what color he's moving to with dash as well. So we're going to say white as he's landed on a white space. Now that Goku is in quadrant number 4, he can block that Ki Blast, but he's going to unfortunately take a fair bit of damage. So let's do the damage calculation on Goku. Goku is stage 5 because of Kaioken, so the damage doesn't get any extra damage. However, he is going to suffer the full 20 damage because he wasn't able to defend. So Goku will go down on his Ki pool first, which will bring him to 0 Ki pool. 0, 0. And 2 more Ki rolls over to his active Ki. So Goku has three ki left for the entire game, whereas our friend Frieza has a total of 24 ki left for the rest of the game. Goku sure has his work cut out for him. In this video, we've talked about how to get the game elements put together from the board to the character. We've talked about how to read the cards and what the goal of the game is, to reduce your opponent down to 0. We've talked about how to spend active ki. We've talked about how to transform, how to pay for those transformations. We've talked about how to choose abilities, defend those abilities, choose locations of the map to move to. Now you should have all of the skills you need to play your very first game of DBFight. This is just a rough video explaining just a few of the rules to get you started. I highly, highly, highly recommend that you go over to the website, that you go to the homepage and you click on the How to Play option and go over all the rules yourself so that you can have an in-depth breakdown on any of the rules. Well, it's been fun hanging out with you guys and teaching everyone how to play DBFight. I hope it brings everyone hours and hours of fun as much as it brought my boys and I hours and hours of fun. In fact, we play once a night if we can get away with it. That being said, if you saw this video and you have had fun with games of your own or playing with your own kids or dreaming up your own concepts and you want to give me a pat on the back, feel free to buy me a coffee with our donation links off to the side, Cash App or PayPal. But that being said, everything that we're using here is copyrighted and trademarked by Toei Animation. Some of the art goes to other people on DeviantArt. So this in no way pays me for the game. It's all free and open source for everyone. And you guys do not have to feel obligated at all to buy me a coffee or give me a pat on the back. I just hope that you guys have fun and enjoy it. That being said, get to battling, have a lot of fun, and have a great day. See you guys in the next one.